welcome to the next episode in Northlake's comic book video series. We're talking Tenacity today. My name is Brian Reinhardt. I'm in the marketing department, I guess now at Dallas College. I was one of the people who helped build the Northlake College website, and now we're working on the Dallas College website. And today I'm here with Cassie Webb from Trio. Cassie, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Cassie Webb. I'm the Director of Trio Student Support Services at Dallas College Northlake campus.
Cassie, we'll just jump right in, I guess. What does the word tenacity mean to you?
When I think of the word tenacity, I think so many words come to mind, but persistence, determination. I think it's, all about being goal focused. I think in order to be tenacious, you have to be working towards something. So I think being resilient is just that mindset of never giving up, never giving in, and just, continually persisting toward that goal.
Have you had to be tenacious to get to where you are now?
Definitely. I would definitely say that I had to be tenacious. I came to Northlake 20 years ago, and when I came here, I was recently divorced. I was a single parent of a young daughter. I was working only part-time, so I think I just had a tenacity just to know that I didn't want to stay where I was at, and I knew that I had to, continually move forward. So I would say yes, indeed.
How would you say you got to where you are now? We can go as far back as you want to go.
Well, I guess I'll start with my journey at Northlake. Like I said, being a single parent, I was, when I came here, I was just part-time, working at a part-time job, and I had an opportunity to come to Northlake working full-time. And it was in a grant position. It was in the final year. And so I didn't know anything about a grant. I didn't know about soft money. I didn't know that this would mean after a year I would not have a job. So I went around through different departments, probably within 2 years, and then eventually I landed at Trio. So when I landed at Trio, that's kind of like what put me on the path to now be the third director of Trio. There's only been 3 directors. So when I came, I was the front desk person. My supervisor at the time saw potential in me, and so she did bring up the fact that in order for me to advance, I needed to get my degree.
So you literally came up from part-time and working the front desk to being in charge.
Yes, but the journey was a long one. And when I started, I was working part-time, not at Northlake. I was working part-time at a different job. So this afforded me an opportunity to work full-time. And so the journey for me to get to where I was, it was a 20 plus year journey. At the time, the current director, even though she saw potential in me, I needed my degree. And, being a single parent, trying to work and balance that, I decided that I also wanted to take on a part-time job. So at that point, I'm working full-time, I'm working part-time, and I'm raising my 6-year-old daughter at the time. And so for me, it was really challenging to try to do those things. And so I just decided I was going to jump in and take classes. So I decided to enroll for 2 classes at Northlake on top of working 2 jobs and being a single parent. And so I do remember back-to-back semesters withdrawing out of all my classes. My plate was too full. Even though I thought I could do it, it just was not possible. But then I remember my supervisor one day telling me, you need to step out on faith. You need to just let your part-time job go. Of course, I was a little bit panicked by that.
I was just going to ask you more about trying to balance working and parenting and education all at the same time.
Yes, as you can imagine, it had to just be just so overwhelming at times. When I finally I did quit my part-time job. I knew that in order for me to be able to continue on that road to get my degree, that there was no way that I could work full-time and part-time. So I did. And I will say that once I decided to make that choice, my first semester, I completed my first 2 classes with A's. And I would just say that that just gave me so much confidence. And that just put me on a path to where each semester I was taking 3-week courses. Back then, Northlake had 3-week courses. I would go on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. On Friday and Saturday, I would do a 5 to 9 p.m. So as you can imagine, there was a lot of sacrifices of getting home late at night. And not just for me, for me and my daughter, she didn't know she was making a sacrifice, but coming in so late at night and then waking up so early to go to school and getting us both on our way to our journey for work and school. So it was, but I will say it was a long journey. I will say it probably took me 6 years to get my associate's degree, just being a single parent and just trying to balance my work life, my home life, making sure, I'm doing enough for my daughter. But I will say eventually that just really, I will say once I did that, I just kept going. After that, my supervisor continually told me that she saw my potential. She saw me advancing within my role. And so I decided, hey, I'm going to go on to my bachelor's degree. So I did that. I completed my bachelor's degree. And then in 2007, that director retired. And so of course, I was like, oh, this might be an opportunity because I'd been in the job for almost, I guess, 7, 8 years. But of course, there was an obstacle. At that point, the grant required that I needed a master's degree. So, while I did my associate's degree, my bachelor's degree, it was not my time. It was not my time because I didn't have my master's degree. And so I didn't immediately go on that journey just because I just took a break, but something within me, which was probably that tenacious mindset, which is, okay, what do you want? What is your goal? What are you going to do to keep moving forward? So eventually I did. I picked up and I started working on my master's degree. I completed that in 2013. At that point, we had our second director of TRIO. And so, again, during that time, I developed skills, having a high level of performance working, being genuine. I think people saw my potential, but they just knew that I needed this one piece to get that master's degree. So in 2018, the second director decided she wanted to take on a new opportunity. So at that point, all the ingredients were there. I had the skills, I had the degree, and that led me to becoming the third director of TRIO Student Support Services at Northlake.
When you're, I guess, in the mindset of determination and trying to get to a goal, is there a real thought process, or are there things that you tell yourself, or is it just kind of as simple as, well, I have to do this, so I'm going to do this, and make sure it's done, or do you have kind of a support network in your mind, or a way of kind of helping yourself along?
I think it's important. I think for anything that you're going to try to achieve, I think first you have to be grateful for opportunities. So I do think that I had the opportunity that was given to me, but I will say there was a lot of fear, there was a lot of doubt, there was, just a lot of uncertainty of getting there. It's just, those are just natural things. When we think about tenacity and you're working toward a goal despite the challenges and the obstacles of life and just in general, I think it's just getting to that point to those obstacles, you start looking at them as, once you achieve them and you go over them, you just develop this self-confidence, and it just kind of propels you just to keep moving forward. And I think for me, I had a lot of great role models that were already where I wanted to be, and they encouraged me. And I think that really helped me, having a really good support system.
That's something that I struggled with, I think, early on and growing up, was the aspect of inner strength and determination, which is asking for help from other people and calling upon other people. And the fact that tenacity does not mean you have to do it all yourself. Do you have any examples of that you can give?
I would definitely say that you have to have, when you think about a child and you're raising a child and you say it takes a village, I do think, you do have to have mentors. You need to have a support system at home. It isn't just you. I do have a natural personality just to be very independent and to work alone, but I do think that I found out in hindsight that just creates more stress, more anxiety, and it puts a lot more on you. So I think it is important to have someone and have a group of people that will support you on this journey.
We've talked a little bit about this, but just kind of as a summary question, um, how would you say that overcoming these kind of obstacles and getting to where you are, how would you say that that has changed you as a person and your character?
I think for me, when I think about, all the obstacles that I went through, and I see where I'm at today, I just really see myself having just an unwavering confidence in myself. I feel empowered. I just feel that I have this knack now to not only do it for myself. I think a lot of times I've walked in the shoes of so many students who have been single parents, who've had self-doubt, even, physical disabilities, emotional disabilities. And so for me, I share those experiences so I can help others have those opportunities and space to also excel. And so I think for me, I'm reading a book, it's called Grit and Grace, and it has these quotes from various women. And so one really stands out. She's a business leader and she talked about a lot of things, but she basically said, at the end of the day, it's not how hard you fall, but it's how high you bounce. And I think that's the biggest thing about tenacity is the ability to know that not when you're going to fall, we're all going to fall, and we all have hurt. If you haven't failed or fallen, you're not trying hard enough. And I think it's true, but I think tenacity allows you to get back up, dust yourself off, and it just puts you back on a path. You might be starting over. You might be picking up on a goal that you forgot about, but I think it does allow you to basically keep moving forward, and it just gives you a sense of having more peace about when you're dealing with things and having less stress and less anxiety. And I think people see that, and they're able to see that they also can accomplish their goals as well.
Well, that was actually going to be my last question to you, was that, working in TRIO, you work with a lot of students who come from backgrounds where they often need to be a little tenacious themselves. And I was going to kind of ask about mentoring them and seeing examples of their own determination.
Yes, and I was going to say that I've had such a great opportunity coming to Northlake 20 years ago. I've always been in a department where I have worked with a group of students who have had challenges that you just would not imagine. I had women who, when I first started, I worked in a center that helped women that were in transition. So a lot of these women were in domestically abusive relationships. Some were raising, kids on their own. Some were deciding to go to a non-traditional path like plumbing and electrical. So, they all had obstacles to face. And I've had students who have been homeless that I know that have slept in their cars and finished the semester. They've graduated with their bachelor's degree. And so for me, it's been a great opportunity for me to be able to provide them with this safe environment and to encourage them and to nudge them and to just basically let them know, don't give up, don't give in, and to basically support them on that journey.
Right now, especially during the pandemic and with learning mostly being online, I think our students are needing even more determination than they've ever needed before. Is there any one piece of advice that you would offer, or one piece of counsel that you would offer to our students right now?
I think right now, I think a lot of us are struggling during this pandemic, but the one thing that I will say that whenever we're working on something, it can seem like it's just impossible, that there's no way to push through or persevere. But I would just say to keep going. I would say to take time, take care of yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. I would definitely say to have that will to just keep pushing yourself forward and to reach out and to know that there's so many people here at Dallas College, Northlake and Dallas College in general that want to see you succeed. And come to TRIO. We have a lot of great services. We would encourage you to join our program so we can provide you with an environment to where you can excel and achieve.
And right now we're all in this together, I guess.
You are so right, Brian.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute joy talking to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this. I think it's very necessary, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to talk about tenacity.